Hey guys, Dr. Heland here. I wanted to do just an intro video here because we did a live recording about essential oils, did a video with a guest speaker, one of my friends, Dr. Jeff Styba, who is the founder of myoillab.com and all about essential oils and healthy living with plant-based medicines. And I'm going to have the video here attached. And I hope you guys enjoy learning more about essential oils. If you have questions, feel free to comment below or reach out to me with any questions. I'll also include the link that was referenced in the video if you want to order your own essential oils online. But hope you enjoy this video and get a lot out of it.
So just before we get started, I just want to give you guys a resource right away. My Oil Lab. This is our educational platform for how we educate on essential oils and plant-based medicine. So my wife and I, we put up a couple videos a week. We have a bunch of different programs and resources for you. Most of what we have is free, so you can use the My Oil Lab on Facebook and also on YouTube and really expand and deepen and just gain a much more rich understanding of plant-based medicine and essential oils. So just want to give you that resource before we get started. So this is my family. Before I introduce my family, Dr. Ryan and I, we went to chiropractic college together. So we went to school together. We've known each other for a long time. Just recently got reconnected, which is really, really awesome. And we just started having a conversation, catching up, and started talking about essential oils. And he asked about using certain oils during this period, this time that we're in. And so that started the conversation. And we were like, why don't we introduce this to your audience and your people that you love and care for? And so that's what birthed what we're going to go through today. But this is my family. We're missing 2 of the teenage daughters in here, but we have my wife and I, Megan, we have 5 total. I have 3 stepchildren. Mikey is one of them here in the red t-shirt. He's 13 now. And then Mila is going to be 2 in June. She's the little one. This was her first birthday. And then Tegan, my 8-year-old daughter. And what's really interesting about this photo is Megan was completely ingrained into Western medicine when we met. She would go to the doctors for everything. Her kids were fully vaccinated. She was doing everything that she thought was right for her kids. But the problem was all of her children were on medications. They'd been on medications for years. And Mikey specifically, he'd been on asthma medications for about 5 years when we met. He was taking Advair every day, and he was on an albuterol inhaler every day. Before he would play soccer, he would have to take a puff on his albuterol inhaler. And so what she thought she was doing was the right thing ended up being not necessarily the right thing long-term, because the long-term effects of these medications can be very harmful and detrimental, which we'll get into a little bit tonight. So one of the first things that I did when I met Megan was introduce this oil called Breathe to her. And Breathe essential oil, we're going to go through it tonight, but it has certain oils in it that contain specific molecules that open airways, clear airways, that block the enzyme that causes breathing issues. And when she started using Breathe on Mikey, that was the last time he ever took an Advair. That was the last time he ever took his albuterol inhaler. So it was very, very powerful. And that's what started her journey into plant-based medicine, natural healthcare, chiropractic. And now she's a yoga instructor. These 2 were born at home. Tegan and Mila were born at home. She had the other 3 in hospitals. So huge shift there. And now there's not a synthetic chemical or toxic personal care product or cleaning product in our home. So amazing journey that she went through and that we went through together. And it's completely transformed her family. So my goal tonight is to really empower you on the truth of plant-based medicine and the benefits of essential oils, because so often we think of plant-based medicine and essential oils as just for aromatherapy. They have a nice aroma. But the reality is an authentic essential oil is so much deeper, it's so much greater, so much richer than that. It has the potential to completely revolutionize your health. And so the goal tonight and my purpose tonight is to give you a glimpse into that world, so that if you're using essential oils already or you're brand new, then your eyes are going to be completely open. And most of the time people are like, how come I never heard this before? So a little bit about me. I'm a retired chiropractor. I practiced actually in Blaine, Minnesota for about 5 years, from 2007 to 2012. And this specific type of class, we've done over 300 live events, and mostly we teach in chiropractic offices. We teach in medical clinics. My wife and I have done continuing education for nurses and doctors in hospitals. Detroit Medical Center is one of the hospital systems that we do continuing education in. And we teach the doctors and patients how to use plant-based medicine essential oils instead of, in many cases, the harmful medications that a lot of people take, and to support our immune system, to support our health. We took care of a lot of people. Personally, I'm going to tell a story tonight. Essential oils saved my nephew's life when he was 5 days old. And so we've been studying and researching and teaching full-time on this topic for the last 6 years. And one of the reasons I got into this here, I'm going to make sure everybody's can get in here. Let's see. Oh, we have a couple of people in the waiting room. I guess we have a waiting room. Laura and Ann. So I'll make sure they get in here. Laura and Ann, we're sorry you were in the waiting room. You're in now. So we're just going to continue to go here. All right, here we go. So one of the things that I learned over the last 13 years using plant-based medicine oils, in my practice, we use them specifically with just about every patient that came into the clinic. So when somebody would come in with certain health conditions, we would add an oil protocol to their care plan, and along with the chiropractic care and their nutrition, they were able to heal very, very quickly. But one of the things that we learned is that application absolutely matters. How you use the oils will either give you the result or you will not get the result that you're looking for. Frequency of use is critical for lasting results. So we'll go through that principle in detail, because it's like working out. You can't just work out once and be in shape. You can't just go to the chiropractor once, get adjusted, and you're healthy. Consistency over the long term is what gives you the great results. And then lastly, the quality of oil that you use makes all the difference. If you go to the health food store today and pick up a brand of essential oils, like if you went to Whole Foods, there's like 13 different brands of oil you could use. Almost every brand will say organic, 100% pure. It'll say therapeutic grade. But if you turn the bottle around and actually look at the fine print, it's always going to say for external use only. And that's your warning sign that it's highly adulterated. It's very synthetic. And that's an oil that you shouldn't necessarily be using, because it's a synthetic oil. It can cause harm if you use it internally or topically. And it always says aromatic use only. So an authentic essential oil has to have, let me show you. I'll show you frankincense here. An authentic oil must have a food nutrition label on it. If there's a food nutrition label on the bottle, that means that that's an oil that is meant to be ingested, and that's going to let you know that that's an authentic oil. If a frankincense or lemon or oils that are meant to be ingested don't have a food label on them, then you know immediately that that's an adulterated, that's a highly synthetic oil. And this is super fun. I'm so excited about teaching this right now, because this is very, very powerful. In 2013, the head researcher at Johns Hopkins University did a study, and she was commissioned. Y'all know Johns Hopkins University out in Boston. Pretty much all of Western medicine follows Johns Hopkins recommendations. So for example, like the standard of care for cancer up until just recently, if you're diagnosed with cancer and you go to the hospital, your options are chemo, radiation, and surgery. Johns Hopkins was the first hospital system to implement the fourth standard of care, which was watch and wait, because they knew that with all of the technology and all of the advanced testing, if you find cancer in your body and you do nothing, many times your body will sequester it and heal it without going into the chemo, radiation, and surgery. So they added a fourth option for people, watch and wait, and a lot of hospital systems across the country are now implementing that. But what was really cool is that Dr. Nicole Parrish, she's their head researcher. She researches pharmaceuticals and drugs, but she was commissioned by the board of the hospital to find a solution to drug-resistant strains of bacteria. And the first thing that she did was look at essential oils, because all of these people are coming into the hospital systems with staph infections, MRSA, E. coli, and they're dying or they're getting limbs amputated because there's no antibiotics, there's no drug that can touch them because they're resistant to all medications. So she looked at 100, the first thing she did, she looked at 100 different oil companies, and every single one of these oil companies, batch to batch to batch, was synthetic or adulterated, with the exception of Doterra. And so once she found the highest quality oil, she started testing certain oils against these different strains of bacteria. And the published article is called Essential Oils and Future Antibiotics, New Weapons Against Emerging Superbugs. And what's powerful, why I wanted to talk about this today, is because this fits in really well with the state of our environment right now. And what she found was that, and this is one of the protocols out of our book. I wrote a master guide which has 20 protocols, all based on the research. But this immune protocol, what she found was that clove essential oil de-envelopes viruses. So clove oil is the most powerful essential oil against any type of virus that's out there. It reduces the virality of a virus, and so the virality means it basically stops the ability for that virus to spread, and then also it de-envelopes it, so it allows our immune system to destroy that virus very, very quickly. So we've been using this for years during this time of the year for like the flu and different things. So clove is always an oil that we're using preventatively. Oregano and thyme were the two oils that she found that kill like gram-negative bacteria, which is like E. coli, Shigella, Salmonella, these like foodborne illnesses. And then cilantro kills gram-positive, which is going to be like staph, strep, and MRSA. So like anytime your child or you start to have a scratchy throat, you can just put cilantro on. And because of these molecules, these aldehydes are so powerful at penetrating basically the skin of these bacteria that they just die. So anytime you start to get a sore throat, you look into the mirror, it's red, it's got white spots, that's strep. Typically people go to the doctor, they take antibiotics. And with cilantro, and what she found with these oils is against these viruses and different types of bacteria, it kills them in 1 or 2 days. So in the hospital systems now, they're using these oils and these protocols when people are coming in. They're also obviously doing the antibiotics, but they're using the oils as well, just in case it's drug resistant, because they don't know it's drug resistant until the bacteria doesn't work, or until the antibiotics don't work anymore. So really, really powerful. Does anybody have any questions about that? I'm gonna go back, see how we're doing.
So the clove oil is already in the on guard.
Yeah, clove is already in the On Guard. So if you use On Guard daily, you're protecting yourself. You're good.
And the thyme and the oregano, is that meant to be ingested then?
Yeah, those are two that are meant to be ingested, but those are hot, like thyme and oregano are hot oils, so is clove. So it's best to use, you can use it in a roller on the bottom of your feet, or it's a really good way to use it is put it in a veggie capsule and then swallow the capsule like a supplement.
Okay. For a hot oil, can't you also use it with a V6 oil?
You can. I'm going to go over carrier oils here in a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll get to that, Rhonda.
All right.
Hey, Ryan, are you able to see if people are sitting in the waiting room as we're going?
I don't know. I just see participants. I don't know if I see waiting room.
Yeah, all I see are participants. There's 10 let's see. I've got a number 10 after them, but
there's 10 people in here, but I keep going back and there's like one person in the waiting room. I think I can only see that, but
I think you can only see it.
That's all good though. All right, we're gonna keep going. I'm gonna see if I can stop people from enable. Okay, I turned off the waiting room.
It looks like someone's calling in though.
Yeah, I see that too. I just turned off the waiting room, so now we're good for sure. All right, we're gonna continue. Any other questions right now?
Nope.
Okay, sweet. All right. Ready to there. Good. Okay, so one of the things, if you're new to oils and you're not using them, or you're using oils and you're using something else, the reason why we choose doTERRA, number one, is because of purity and potency of the oil. Purity, meaning the oil is safe to use. It's not going to harm us. And there's no adulteration to that oil. Potency, meaning the chemistry is at a certain level that when we use it, we get very predictable results. So the results that we see in the research is done on authentic essential oils. And as long as we're using an authentic oil, the chemistry is there, we're going to get the results. So how we ensure that, and what we do in doTERRA, is certain plants grow better in certain regions of the world, and these plants produce higher quality oil. I'm going to turn off somebody's, I'm going to mute. There we go. I think it was you, Rhonda. It's all good. So certain plants produce better oil in different regions. So because of this, we source our oils from over 100 different countries of the world. And about half of our oils, don't come from farms. We partner with the landowner, and the plants grow wild. And we have our harvesters go out, they harvest the plant material. We have the distillation equipment right there in each region. So by the time the harvest to distillation, it's always less than 24 hours for the oils that don't need to be dried out, the plants that don't need to be dried out. So sourcing is critical when it comes to potency of essential oils. So this is in Nepal. This is our Wintergreen Forest. And I love this picture because this woman is coming in from her harvest. And so wintergreen comes from the leaves and the branches. So she harvests the leaves and the branches, she brings it in, they weigh it. Nepal is one of our third world countries we source from. So it's part of the co-impact sourcing model. They weigh it, they pay her immediately. And so if she gets paid immediately for her day's work. And in the essential oil world, this is very rare because a lot of times in these third world countries, the harvesters are cheated out of their money because they don't know what things weigh. So when they weigh it, they tell them it weighs less and they give them less money. So when we go in and we work with the local economy, we're able to pay them very, very well. They get paid immediately, and we make a really powerful impact into the local economy of the third world countries that we work with. So Nepal is one of the Wintergreen Forest is one of these areas that the wintergreen just grows wild and natural. And then the last thing I want to share with you guys is this website, because when it comes to purity, when it comes to potency, a company can tell you that their oils are pure, that they're potent, that they're high quality, but unless they show you the testing, you don't really know. So one of the things that we love about doTERRA is we have a website called sourcetoyou.com. And this website, on the bottom of each bottle, there's a number. It's the lot number. And you can plug that number in, and it's going to pull up this test. And this is called a GCMS. A GCMS has every single molecule that is in that oil. So we know from the very first test whether or not this oil has been adulterated, because there's certain molecules that should be, this is a frankincense, but there's certain molecules that should be in an authentic frankincense at certain percentages. And then if there's anything else in there, or we see molecules at abnormal percentages, then we know that that oil has been adulterated somehow. So this is one of the tests, and every batch of oil that comes in goes through 76 different tests to ensure potency and purity, and they're pure, they're not adulterated. If they are adulterated at all, then we sell that batch to the perfume industry. So we'll never have adulterated oil in our bottles. So they're safe for infants, they're safe for children, they're safe for your animals, and you're going to get really, really great results with these oils. All right, so I'm gonna talk about this one. So when I first, so this is my introduction to essential oils. It's in chiropractic school. It's T1, our very first trimester in chiropractic college. And I was in class and I was chewing gum. And I didn't really know this person very well, but they leaned over and they said, "Hey, Jeff, you know gum is toxic." I'm like, "What do you mean?" I didn't really know much. I was a hockey player, so I didn't know much about health at this point. I just knew I loved chiropractic. So I went to chiropractic school. And he's like, "Gum is toxic. It's full of artificial sweeteners. Here, use this." He gave me a bottle of peppermint oil. He's like, "Anytime you want fresh breath or you want a boost of energy, put a couple drops of this in your mouth and don't chew that toxic crap anymore." I was like, "All right, I'll do that. I'll try that." So that was my first introduction to essential oils. And so for the next couple months, I would just ingest peppermint. I literally thought peppermint was the only essential oil. I didn't know that any other oils existed. And then I was like, "Hey, what else do you have? I really like the taste of wintergreen. Can you give me some wintergreen?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'll give you some wintergreen." And so for the next couple months, I ingested a few bottles of wintergreen. But I did not know at the time that wintergreen is an oil that's not meant to be ingested, because the primary molecule of wintergreen, our wintergreen oil is 99% this molecule called methylsalicylate. Methylsalicylate is the active ingredient in aspirin. So 1 teaspoon of wintergreen oil is the equivalent to about 82 aspirin. So we know that aspirin is incredibly hard on your gut. It's hard on your stomach. So this is why you don't ingest wintergreen, because it has the natural molecule, which isn't as hard or taxing on our body, but it's still in high doses can be detrimental. And so I ingested like 3 or 4 bottles of wintergreen before I even knew that you're not supposed to ingest it. And we're totally fine. That's one of the beauties. You can make mistakes with oils and you're not really going to harm yourself. Nobody's ever died from essential oils. But if you do that with medications, if you make mistakes with medications, take certain medications, then the 3rd leading cause of death in the United States is I think it's the number 1 leading cause of death is iatrogenic death, meaning doctor-induced. You go to the doctor, you end up dying because of hospital mistakes. But drug interactions are a very high number on leading causes of death every year. I don't know the exact number. So you don't have to make all the mistakes. We have all the resources for you. So the 3 principles we're going to talk about tonight is, number 1, always use a carrier oil when you're using oils topically. Number 2, the effects of the oils last about 4 hours. So when you're using oils to treat something, whether it's acute or chronic, acute being you worked out too hard, your muscles are sore. Chronic being you have a chronic health condition, like a degenerative condition like diabetes, thyroid, MS, Parkinson's, one of these chronic conditions. You're going to reapply every 4 hours until that condition is healed, or until, if it's more of a disease that can't be reversed or it's too far along, then that's going to be your protocol for the rest of your life. Number 3, obviously, only use authentic essential oils, which we covered that. So this first one, I laugh at this. I shouldn't be laughing, but this is a really good friend of mine, Ryan Berlin, and he's been using oils for about 7 years now. And he was visiting friends in North Carolina in this past summer. He forgot his deodorant, and so they were on the lake all day. Before going out on the lake, he used bergamot as his cologne. And bergamot is a citrus oil. Citrus oils contain a molecule called furanocoumarins that intensify the UV light from the sun. So they're very photosensitive. And he just applied it directly on his skin without a carrier oil, went out into the sun and got major chemical burns. This was like a 2nd-degree burn from using a citrus oil before going out into the sun. So number 1, do not use citrus oils before you go out into the sun. If you are, make sure you dilute it with a carrier oil, and this won't happen. But I tell this story because this is like an extreme example where this likely won't happen to any of you. But when you use an essential oil topically, fractionated coconut oil is the best carrier oil. So fractionated coconut oil is light. It absorbs directly into your skin. It's always a liquid. We have it at Doterra. We have a 4-ounce bottle with a pump. It's very easy to use, and you do a 1-to-1 ratio with your essential oils. So if you're using 3 drops of essential oil, you're going to use 3 drops of your carrier oil. So 3 drops of oil is a therapeutic dose. The effects last 4 hours. When you're using oils topically or internally, you're going to get the same exact results. So don't be too concerned about using them internal or topically, because you're going to get the same result within 30 seconds of using an oil. The molecules are in our bloodstream. Within 5 minutes, they're in every cell in our body. So we get very fast acting results when we're using essential oils. And for topical use, always use a carrier oil, because if you do not, about a third or half of that oil evaporates before it's absorbed into your bloodstream. So this is like the most extreme example that you'll see with my friend Ryan. He's a chiropractor also. He should have known better. But does anybody have any questions about application? Topical, internal, 3 drops is therapeutic. If you're using 5 oils at once, use 3 drops of all 5. Effects last 4 hours. Cool. All right, I want to talk about peppermint. The reason why peppermint's one of the basics. I absolutely love this oil. All the oils that we're talking about tonight are going to be in the basic kit. So the kit that we're recommending at the end, if you don't have oils and you want to purchase, you're going to get all these oils that we're talking about tonight. So peppermint, we source it from Washington and Oregon. It's one of the 3 oils that we source from the U.S. And what makes our peppermint powerful? It's the most potent peppermint in the world, with the primary molecule being 94% menthol. So if you're tired, if you have congestion in your sinuses or airways, if you need a boost of energy, peppermint is the oil. You drop a couple drops in your mouth and boom, it's like wasabi on steroids. It's very powerful. It clears out your breathing. You have incredibly fresh breath, and you feel very refreshed when you use peppermint essential oil. So that's my favorite way to use it. Now, this is the story of my nephew, and I talked about earlier that essential oils saved his life, and they did. So this is Caleb. He was 5 days old, and my little sister, who was my office manager, she called me at like 2:30 in the morning, and she was like, "Hey, Jeff, Caleb has a 105.5 degree fever. What should I do?" And I was like, 105.5, that is a very unhealthy fever in a 5-day-old infant. So I'm like, you have to go to the hospital immediately. So they went to the hospital, went to the emergency room in St. Paul, and they rushed him in, they admitted him. And the first thing that they did was do a spinal tap to find out what was causing this high fever. And they found E. coli in his spinal fluid, which was causing a severe case of meningitis. And how he got E. coli in his body is he ingested meconium during the birth process, which is loaded with all different types of bacteria. And so E. coli is a very small bacteria that's able to get into our spinal canal, get into our brain and nervous system, and wreaks havoc and cause devastation, causing a severe case of meningitis, which that's what was causing the extremely high fever. And the hospital protocol at the time was 30 days on IV antibiotics. And the doctors, once they found out that it was an E. coli infection, they said, "Hey, listen, we don't know if he's going to make it because antibiotics do not cross the blood-brain barrier. We cannot get antibiotics into the brain or into the nervous system or the spinal canal. So we're going to hopefully kill everything in his bloodstream with the hope that his immune system is strong enough to kill the E. coli in his spinal canal." And so the next morning, Annie, my sister, she called me and told me what was going on. So since we knew it was E. coli, we knew from the research out of Johns Hopkins that it's E. coli is gram-negative bacteria, and oregano and thyme kill it in 1 or 2 days. So rushed down to the hospital the next morning, brought oregano and thyme. We used 3 drops of each on the bottom of his feet every 4 hours. And within 2 days, confirmed by another spinal tap, the infection was completely gone. His fever was back to, like, he had no fever anymore. His temperature was back to normal. But because of the hospital protocol, he had to stay there for 28 more days. And then it took us about 2 years to fix his gut from being on these heavy doses of antibiotics for so long. And if it wasn't for our knowledge and understanding of plant-based medicine, essential oils, he might not be here today. So And the doctors and nurses were super excited because they're like, hey, listen, we've never seen this heal in such quick amount of time. They're like, did you do anything different? And we told them about the essential oils that we used in the research. And so some of these doctors now are using essential oils in their practices, which is very, very, very powerful. So a really, really cool story with Caleb. And then this story here, this is for only use authentic oils. You're not going to get these results with synthetic oils. But this is my friend Beth and James. And James was on antidepressants for 6 years when we met. He came to one of my classes about 6 months ago. And after the class, he came up and he's like, hey, Jeff, I've been on these antidepressants for 6 years. I've tried to get off of them many, many times. And every time I try to get off of them, I have terrible withdrawal symptoms and I have to go back on them. So he's like, is there anything that we can do with oils that can help me? And so we used an oil called Adaptive, which I'll talk about next, and an oil called Melissa. Melissa essential oil counteracts the withdrawal symptoms of coming off antidepressants or anti-anxiety medications. And then Adaptive is one of our newer blends that was blended and created for depression and anxiety. So if you're chronically depressed, chronically anxious, this is a great one to use. But also if you just need a boost, like we get depressed in the house like all day, every day right now. And we're using a lot of Adaptive to emotionally uplift our moods. And the reason why Adaptive is so powerful, it has 8 oils: Copaiba, wild orange, rosemary, neroli, magnolia, lavender, sweet gum, and spearmint. And the molecules that are in these oils, essential oil molecules, cross the blood-brain barrier. So they're able to get into our brain tissue. And like some of these molecules like limonene, which is in wild orange, linalool, which is the primary molecule of neroli and lavender and magnolia, sweet gum, which is alpha-pinene, is the primary molecule. These molecules stimulate serotonin and dopamine receptors and GABA receptors in our brain. So think of like you're shopping on Amazon, you click that order button, you feel great. That's dopamine. So it's that high that you get from like an online purchase, or when you get a text message, you hear your phone buzz, you look at it, that's dopamine. And these molecules stimulate those different receptor sites. So if we're anxious, if we're depressed, these molecules bind to the receptor sites and lift us up emotionally. So going back to James, what he did was he told his medical doctor, he's like, hey, listen, I'm going to try these oils. I'm going to go cold turkey on this drug, which he did. He had a difficult time for about a day and a half. And then that was 6 months ago. He hasn't looked back. He's never wanted to get on them again. He's completely drug-free. He still uses Adaptive every day to help, but he's off these medications that the long-term problems with these psychotropic drugs can be very, very devastating. So Adaptive is one of the best oils that we can use for emotional health when we're feeling any type of anxiety or any depressed type feelings. And if we're coming off of the drugs, then Melissa, you'll add Melissa to it to help with the withdrawal symptoms. Do you guys have any questions about that? And then,
Yes.
Yeah, Laura.
So the Adaptive and the Melissa, is that something you're putting in one of the roller bottles and then putting it on your feet?
So yes, you can, but Adaptive is like one of the most beautiful aromas of all of our blends.
Mm-hmm.
So we always recommend using it like on your neck and chest. It comes in a roller also.
Mm-hmm.
So it comes in like a 15 milliliter regular bottle of oil,
Mm-hmm.
but it also comes in a roller.
Okay.
So the rollers have coconut oil already in them.
Oh yeah.
So you can just use that, rub it on your neck and chest,
Okay.
and use that whenever you need a boost, or if you just want to feel really good.
So I know someone that could benefit from this, and I mean, is that needing to be used for, every 4 hours then, like you would if you were ingesting it?
Question.
Yes. So every 4 hours. So if they're really having a hard time, then for sure you want to be using it 3 to 4 times a day.
Okay.
Because the effects of oils, I don't know if I mentioned this, the effects of oils last 4 hours before our liver. Yeah. before our liver metabolizes the molecules. So when we're
Mhm.
treating something, whether it's emotional or physical, we have to reapply to have the continual benefit.
And do you use the adaptive and the Melissa together?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, so
Yeah.
you're basically having 2 roller bottles, and maybe you might put the adaptive on one side of the chest and then the Melissa on the other side of the chest?
You can, if you're using both of them, you can make a roller bottle with 1 part coconut oil, 1 part adaptive, 1 part Melissa.
Okay,
Yeah. So
All
the
right.
roller bottles have 160 drops.
Yep.
You'll go 160 divided by 3. So that's like
Yeah.
6, whatever, 50,
Sure.
50 some.
Yeah,
Yeah. 50 some drops of each.
okay,
Yeah.
all right, thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Any other questions at all? Cool. All right. All right, so we're going to talk about On Guard because On Guard is one of our basics. This is one of the ones we're using so much right now. When this outbreak first happened in our Chinese market, we have distribution in 17 countries of the world, so we deliver oils everywhere in the world. But our Chinese market, they ordered 6 months worth of On Guard in 3 weeks because of the research on On Guard. On Guard is an oil. It's a blend. It has wild orange, eucalyptus, rosemary, clove, and cinnamon. It's a very historic blend, but this specific blend has been studied to, again, have an antiviral effect by inhibiting virus protein. So again, it reduces the virality of different viruses. So earlier, like this was like 3 weeks ago, I got an email from one of the gals who is on our team for Doterra, and she was like, "Hey Jeff, what are you going to do different now than you have in the past because of COVID?" And I wrote her back, and then I actually made a video about it on my oil lab because I thought it was a really interesting conversation. And I told her that we're not doing anything differently essential oil wise. We're not doing anything differently supplement wise because we always use On Guard every day. We always use Breathe. We always use frankincense. We always use some of these powerful oils that support our immune system because this is the same time of year when the flu virus is going around. And the flu virus kills so many people. Up to 60,000 people already this year have died from the flu. The CDC has on their website says between 30 and 60,000 people have already died since October of the flu. And so we do all these things protectively. We do our vitamin D3, we do our vitamin C all through the winter. And we do these things every single year to protect our immune system to stay healthy. So just because there's a new threat, that doesn't mean we're going to change what we're doing. We're just going to continue doing what we've always done. And if you aren't using these strategies and if you aren't doing these protocols, then it's a really good idea to start implementing some of these essential oils and plant-based medicine so that your body is protected when these different things are going around. Not to say you're not going to get it, but if you do, you have a much higher chance of recovering very, very quickly. And then this last story, and then we're going to almost close it out. But this last story here, this is Kayla, and she's my wife's cousin's baby. So Katie is my wife's cousin, and this is Kayla, her baby. She was about 4 months old here. Katie was giving her a bath in the sink. Her older sister, Gianna, was in the bathtub. Gianna turned the water off in the bathtub, and a surge of hot water went into the sink. And this second picture here in the upper right was between a 2nd and 3rd degree burn. And Katie, this was the next day, but that night she went to the hospital, went to the ER. They gave her an antibiotic steroid cream to put on it. Katie called us on the way home and was like, "Hey, this is what happened. This is what's going on. What should I use?" She had oils. So the oils that you use on a burn are frankincense, lavender, and Melaleuca. And I'll go through that in a second. So again, she was like, "Well, should I use the antibiotic steroid cream?" And I was like, I wouldn't use it. Just use the oils and the coconut oil. She's like, "All right, that's what I'm going to do." So she used 3 drops of each with 9 drops of coconut oil and gently rubbed it over the burn. And she did that 3 times a day. And one of the biggest concerns that Katie had was with Kayla was the scarring that was going to occur, because second and third degree burns always scar. They form these keloid tissues. And especially on a little baby, that was her biggest concern. And that's why we used frankincense, because when we have a skin condition, a skin injury, a burn, a cut, you've had surgery, frankincense is the oil that is the number one oil for cellular health support. So it repairs genetic damage to the DNA, research has shown, so that when we have injured skin cells or tissue on our body, frankincense is going to help it heal without causing any scarring. So that's why we added frankincense. Lavender is one of the most powerful antihistamines that we know of. So like all Benadryls, all antihistamine medications, like the allergy drugs and the Benadryls and all these different antihistamine medications, they have a synthetic linalool in, that's their primary ingredient. Linalool is the primary molecule in lavender. So when you have a burn that hurts, that stings, we put lavender on it and the pain goes away almost immediately. So also with like bee stings or mosquito bites or skin rashes, you put lavender on it and the itch, the burn, the sting, the irritation goes away. And then lastly with Melaleuca is tea tree oil. We source it from Australia. Lavender is from Bulgaria, frankincense from Somalia. But Melaleuca is considered first aid for the skin. So Melaleuca helps skin cells heal about twice as fast as they normally would, and they prevent any infection. So like Melaleuca comes from Australia, and during World War II, the Australian medics would carry Melaleuca oil with them. And when they were there, they would come upon an injured soldier that was stabbed or shot. The first thing they did was pour the oil into the wound, and so the wound would not get infected. So Melaleuca is an oil that we use a lot of when you have younger children who are learning to ride their bikes, they're skateboarding, they're falling, skin in their knees, skin in their elbows. And we always put it on the wound. You don't even feel it. It doesn't sting at all. It purifies it and helps it heal faster. So this combination is what you use on any skin condition at all. And it's going to help it heal very, very quickly. You can go, I did a video today that we went deep into the immune system. So you can go to my oil lab on Facebook and watch that video today. But I talked about another oil called yarrow palm, which for inflammatory skin conditions like eczema, psoriasis, atopic dermatitis, these types of things, you can use this combination, or you can use an oil called yarrow palm, which is very, very effective for that also, because of the chemistry of that oil. All right. So if you're not using oils, and I like to go through this because it brings it to reality. If all this did was, if you started using oils and all this did was save you money, save you time, save you discomfort, would it be worth it? Yes, it would be worth it. If all this did was allow you to help your child when they're emotional or physically hurting, would it be worth it? Yes. We have 5 kids. They're all oiled up all the time. The 2 younger ones at night, we yell, oil up. And they come running into the room. They put their feet up. We put the oils on their feet before they go to bed every single night. Helps them sleep really well. And we use the immune boosting oils before they go to bed also. So really, really powerful. So we have all the resources for you. So if you're brand new and you're going to start using oils, you're going to be plugged into our education system where we're going to give you all the resources that you require to be very, very successful with your essential oil usage. So one of the things is a drip campaign where you're going to get an email every couple of days on each one of the essential oils that we have. So there's over 90 different oils. So every couple of days you'll get an email of a specific oil, and it's going to teach you everything about that oil so you'll know how to use it. So you can archive those, revisit them as you wish. We also have a lot of other programs on our website, but that's the first thing. So if you're not a member of Doterra, to become a member, it's either a one-time $35 fee, which is your membership fee. It's kind of like Costco. You become a wholesale customer. And once you're a member, as long as you order one time a year, you keep your membership. They also have a great loyalty program where a lot of us, we order every month because we use a ton of oils. We get credits back that we can use for free oils. And if we order a certain amount before the 15th of the month, we get a free oil every month. So that's the loyalty program. So you can participate in that, or you can just order whenever you need something. And so it's $35 one-time fee to become a member, or you purchase one of our starter kits. So I'll show you this. I'll go back to that in a second. But this starter kit here, all the starter kits waive the $35 fee. So you don't pay that fee when you get a starter kit, and the oils are discounted off wholesale price. So the Healthy Essentials kit, this is the most popular kit for sure. This has 10 of the basic oils plus a diffuser. And this diffuser you can set for 5, 10, or 2 hours. And the oils that you get in this kit are Deep Blue, which is one used for pain, Adaptive, which we talked about, On Guard, Digestion, which is for gut health. So anything that you have going on with your gut, heartburn, you want better digestion. Digestion is the oil. Breathe, we talked about. Balance, Copaiba, Peppermint, Lavender, and Lemon. So these 10 oils come in this kit. It's $249, covers your membership, and then this includes, then you become a wholesale customer. So you'll have access to all of our oils. Once you become a member, you'll receive your login information. You'll receive your password for Doterra. And then moving forward, you just go to doterra.com and make all of your orders. So I'm going to show you. So I'm going to put the link in the chat. So if you can copy this link into your browser, into new URL, and that's going to, I'm going to show you where that's going to bring you. So that's going to bring you here. And these are the different kits. So the Healthy Essentials kit, like I said, this is the most popular one. It's $249. You can get any of these. Any of these starter kits cover your membership, but the Healthy Essentials is the one that most people start with. And then the other thing that everybody who enrolls, I'm going to send you a link to a webinar that I just recently completed that talks about each one of these 10 oils. So you can watch that at your own convenience. We go into detail on each one of the 10 oils. It's like a 30-minute webinar, but that'll give you an understanding of each one of these oils. And you can keep that. You can watch it whenever you want. And so it'll explain the 10 oils that come in the Healthy Essentials kit. So in the chat, that's the link to go to. And that's it. So do you guys have any questions at all?
I do.
Yeah, Rhonda.
So I heard that Copaiba, if you use it in combination with like the Deep Blue, it's supposed to enhance or push that oil even deeper, or I can't really explain it, but
yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
So that's kind of a myth in essential oil world, like layering certain oils on top of certain oils to get better results. Okay. So yes, Deep Blue and Copaiba. Copaiba is a cannabinoid, meaning it's
like a CBD oil.
Yeah, it stimulates CB2 receptors in our body. But the three things Copaiba does is it reduces chronic or acute pain, it boosts our immune system, and it reduces chronic levels of inflammation. So Deep Blue is the oil we use topically for pain. You can use Copaiba internally. It's amazing. But no matter how you use it, if you put Deep Blue on and then put Copaiba on top of it, regardless, all of those molecules are going in your bloodstream. So it's not that they go deeper. The molecules go into the capillaries, go into your bloodstream, and that's how the essential oil molecules are delivered to our body. So regardless of what oil you use with what other oil, you get the same benefits. You get the full benefits of each oil, no matter if you're using 3 at once or 5 at once or 10 at once, or you're just using a blend. So does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Cool.
Also a question. I've been told too that if you open up a bottle of the oil and it stinks to you, that means that you need it.
Yes, maybe not. So like you just might
kind of
not
like doing a muscle test with the oil.
Muscle test would be different, but like geranium, like I don't like the smell of geranium. It smells like dirty socks, to me. Some people love it. But every oil has a physical component that it does in our body, but every oil also has an emotional component. So what happens is like aroma triggers memory. Or the fastest way to trigger memory is through the sense of smell.
Mhm.
So like if I gave you lavender and you smelled it, lavender could trigger the worst moment of your life because you could remember in that moment you smelled lavender and you
Mhm.
smell it and it brings you back to that place. So it can be not a good oil for you to use, or you could work on and get some help healing from whatever that thing was, and then maybe you'll like lavender. So yes and no. You just might not like the aroma, or it can trigger a memory that brings you to a really bad place, and then that's a place that you need healing in your life.
Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. That goes along with my Reiki training then.
Oh, nice. That's awesome. Oh, Reiki's great. All right.
I have a question about lavender.
Yeah, Laura.
Okay, so I have a friend that is highly sensitive to the fragrance of lavender. So, like, I went on this retreat, and we didn't stay in the same room, but I like at night before I go to bed, I put like a drop of lavender, and it's lavender, and I mix it with another oil, and I just put one drop on each side of my pillowcase. And like she would start like almost having an asthma attack from it. And so I like wondered what your thoughts are kind of on that. I mean, can someone actually be allergic to it? That it would like trigger, her need to use her inhaler. I'm just kind of like wonder if you've heard anything like that.
So we're using Doterra's lavender?
Yes.
Okay. So she probably it's like a psychosomatic reflex for her,
Okay.
which means that she smells any type of aroma that she thinks she doesn't like, and it triggers that because
Okay.
like allergies and those types of responses are caused from antigens that are proteins, and
Okay.
there's no proteins in authentic essential oils.
Okay.
So you cannot really physiologically be allergic to an authentic
Okay.
essential oil.
All right.
But
That's good to know.
yeah.
It kind of like, it did bother me. And so like what I ended up doing was I ended up putting my pillows in like a garbage bag, and I knotted it up, and I had to keep it enclosed because if she walked by my room, that would happen. So, and then I had to like keep the door closed for a while until like the bag took on some of the smell or something. And it like, to me, wasn't even like, I didn't even think it was like grossly powerful. So
yeah, just one or two drop on a pillowcase, that's not going to hardly give off anything.
Right. But I mean, like if you do it every night though, like sometimes it does sort of build up. I have noticed that.
Yeah.
But in any event, I was more curious about the allergic part of it. And she just starts coughing and coughing, and then she has to like go use her inhaler.
Yeah. So doTERRA actually tracks like people who are sensitive to our oils. And it's 0.0087% of people are sensitive to our oils.
Oh, sure.
And there's almost 9 million people worldwide that use our oils. So it's like, I mean, so yeah, okay. I mean, not to say that somebody couldn't be, but the physiology doesn't really allow that to happen.
Okay. Well, that's good to know. I appreciate that. Thanks for your help.
You're welcome. But our mind can create all kinds of things too, So
she needs a little bit of the adaptive and the Melissa.
Yeah, probably needs some Melissa for sure. Yeah. Any other questions, you guys?
Hey, Jeff, would you take a minute and describe Melissa? I don't know much about Melissa.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So Melissa looks like a hosta. It's a small green plant, and it's from Bulgaria also, but it's one of our most expensive oils. It's $115 for a 5 milliliter. So 5 milliliter oils these are the little bottles. They have 80 drops. So it's still, I mean, it's one of the most expensive oils, but still it's like just over $1 a drop. And what it does, it's worth much more than that. But the reason why Melissa is so rare an authentic Melissa. It's one of the most adulterated oils that you can ever find because people know how expensive it is, so they replicate it. But it takes 6,000 pounds of Melissa plant leaves to yield 1 gallon of oil. And if the plant material isn't in the still within about 12 hours after harvest, the Melissa oil starts to denature and degrade. So then the quality isn't there where you're going to get a predictable result using it. And then lastly, a lot of times you'll run a full distillation on Melissa and it will produce 0 oil. So it's a very finicky plant, and you never know if there's actual oil in enough oil in the plant to go through a distillation to actually get the oil out until you run a full distillation. So they can spend hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars, and get 0 oil. So, and then with Melissa, the benefits of it. So it's been studied for counteracting withdrawal symptoms of people coming off of different psychotropic medications. And then the other powerful study that's done is it's been studied to shrink GBM. So like John McCain died of a GBM, glioblastoma multiforme. It's a type of brain cancer. And a lot of times they're inoperable, but Melissa oil has been studied to shrink and to start to kill off those inoperable brain tumors. And how you use it for that is you just use it on the roof of your mouth. It goes right into your brain. So, and then Melissa is also one of the most powerful immune system oils. So if you're really immunocompromised, if you have cancer, then Melissa is one of the oils that we always recommend to use for people that are severely immunocompromised. And the last thing is Melissa, like the viruses, like it's more powerful than clove for viruses. But clove is like $20 for 15 milliliters. Melissa is $115 for 5 milliliters. So the cost effectiveness, and clove does all you need it to do, where Melissa would be overkill for that, but it's a very powerful oil for that too. And its nickname is lemon balm. So the aroma is like a spicy lemon. So when people need it, they need it, and it radically saves them. Like people coming off psychotropic drugs with the severe withdrawal symptoms like lightning zaps and homicidal and suicidal thoughts and all those things, Melissa really, really helps.
Cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We could do that for everyone, Ryan. Keep going.
We could do what?
I'm just kidding. I said we could do that for everyone. Name another.
Oh yeah, well I'll just keep going. I love these oils.
Yeah, we'll go all night.
But no, the Melissa I didn't know much about. How new is the Melissa oil? Like, has that been around forever?
Yeah, it's been around forever. Thousands of years they've been using it.
Yeah. And so Doterra's had it in their lineup since they've existed.
Yeah, it was one of our first oils. We couldn't get it for a while. The source that we had when we first started, it like stopped growing there. So then we had to find a new source. So we didn't have it for like 2 years. So now we have our source in Bulgaria, and we're growing it in Guatemala also right now to see because it grows really well in Guatemala, but we got to distill it and see if it produces the same quality oil as in Bulgaria.
Cool.
Yeah,
I guess another oil you've mentioned that I think isn't as common like peppermint or lemon is Neroli.
Oh yeah.
It's in the adaptive.
Yeah, it's in the adaptive. The Neroli is like one of my favorites right now. Yeah. And so citrus oils so I'll tell you about Neroli. So Neroli is it's from the bitter orange tree, and Neroli is from Egypt, and it's distilled from the blossom before it turns into an orange. So the aroma is just really unique, but the chemistry of Neroli, and the reason why I love it so much is the primary molecule in citrus oils is called limonene. Limonene is a very energizing, very detoxifying, very cleansing molecule.
Yeah.
And then its other primary molecule is linalool, which is the calming molecule, and why lavender is relaxing and calming, but also an antihistamine. So you get a combination. So the two primary molecules of neroli are limonene, which is energizing and uplifting, and linalool, which is relaxing and calming. So the effects that it has on our emotions is so powerful, because no matter how we're feeling, you put neroli on and it just brings you this incredible type of focus, because it like calms your brain, but also gives you a boost of energy at the same time. It's a really, really cool oil.
Isn't it used oftentimes in perfumes?
Yeah, it's a base note in a lot of perfumes.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So is bergamot. Bergamot has that effect too, calming and uplifting at the same time. Bergamot is a citrus oil from Sicily, and bergamot is the only citrus oil that has calming molecules in it. All the other citrus oils are loaded with energizing molecules.
Wow. What's the difference between Balance and Adaptive and Melissa?
Good question. So Balance is like one of our original oils, from the original lineup. But Balance is more just like to create a sense of calm in your body. So it's a blend of a lot of different oils. I think there's 7 or 8 different oils in Balance too. But it doesn't have like the antidepressant, anti-anxiety effects that Adaptive does. But it's still like, it's an oil that I use almost every day. It's in my truck. I always keep it in the truck too, because you always want to just arrive places chilled out. You want to arrive places more calm than when you left. So Balance is one of those oils that I always use when I'm driving somewhere. So when we get there, we're like relaxed and calm and chill. So that's kind of what Balance does emotionally. And Adaptive it does that too. But if somebody needs that added boost, then Adaptive has neroli and copaiba and magnolia and all the oils that have that really powerful chemistry.
Okay.
Yeah. Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Do you put it on your chest mostly? Like neroli and Balance, mostly chest?
Yeah, neck and chest.
Do you make your own rollers then, or do you buy the ones that come that way?
We make our own, but we also buy them too. Like,
yeah.
Cool. Oh, the other thing, you guys, is anybody that's new and is going to enroll and purchase a kit, I'm going to give you our master guide. So our book, we sell it for $39 on our website, but I'm going to give that to you guys. It's our 20 protocols, the most common health conditions that people suffer from. So it's every organ system and then emotional health and behavioral things. And it's all based on the research. So every protocol is referenced. There's over 100 different references to the research in there. And then you can just, whatever you're suffering from, you just look up the protocol. It gives you the protocol and then how to use it. It's like how to make a roller bottle, how to use it topically, how to use it internally if you want to do it that way. So multiple different options. And it's $35 if you're gonna order a kit. We'll get notification. I'll email that to you. And if you already have a membership with Doterra, you can go to our website, myoillab.com, and just go to Master Guide and type in the promo code Zoom, and you'll get 25% off of that.
My oil what?
myoillab.com.
Okay.
Yeah.
Jeff, do you want to just make any comment about the deep blue, like, they have like a lotion or a cream or, for muscles and aches, because a lot of my patients can maybe benefit from something like that.
Yeah, let's do it. Stop the share. I'm going to pull up the slides so you guys can see it. What's his name?
Henry.
Henry he wants attention.
Henry's a lover.
Yeah.
So here's Deep Blue. Deep Blue is the oil blend that we use for any type of pain. Got a lot of really cool stories about Deep Blue. Like one is my dad in 2015 was shoveling my grandfather's driveway, slipped and fell, broke his tibia and fibula. And he had to have a plate and 18 screws put in his leg to fix it. After 6 months, it still wasn't healed. And the orthopedic surgeon at TRIA in Minneapolis wanted to do a bone graft surgery. He was going to cut a piece of bone out of his hip, grind it up, put it over the fracture site. with a wire mesh. And he said, that's what we need to do. It's not healing. That's what we're going to do. So that was in June. The surgery was scheduled for July. And in between that, my dad was like, hey, do you have any oils that can help my leg? So I gave him Deep Blue. And I was like, put this over the fracture site. He's like, well, I'm wearing this boot. I can't put it on the fracture site. And I was like, oh, that's fine. Just put it on the bottom of your feet because the oils go systemic anyway. And so he did that 3 times a week for about 3.5 weeks. He went back to the surgery and the tech took the x-ray, got him prepped for surgery. He was laying on the bed in the operating room when the doctor came in after looking at the x-ray and was like, hey, Mike, I don't know what you did, but we don't have to do the surgery today. As far as I'm concerned, your leg is totally healed, but I want to know what you did. Because in 20 years of being an orthopedic surgeon, I've never canceled a bone graft surgery. And my dad said, hey, I've been using this oil called Deep Blue. And the surgeon wrote down the oils that are in Deep Blue and researched them. And 2 days later, he called my dad and he's like, hey, Mike, I want to let you know I researched this oil and this stuff actually works. And my dad's like, well, yeah, we canceled the surgery. But the combination of oils in here is wintergreen, camphor, peppermint, ylang ylang, helichrysum, blue tansy, blue chamomile, and osmanthus. But specifically, helichrysum stimulates collagen production. So when we have a soft tissue injury or a bone fracture, every cell in our body is made up of collagen. And when we use helichrysum, it stimulates collagen production. So injuries heal in about half the time as they typically would. And then also all these other oils like wintergreen is like aspirin, so pain relieving and anti-inflammatory. Camphor is like that. Peppermint's like that also. Blue tansy and blue chamomile are powerful antioxidants. So the combination of all these oils are very pain relieving and help soft tissue injuries heal. So it comes in just a regular oil. It comes in a roller bottle with coconut oil. It comes as a lotion. And it comes as these polyphenol complex tablets. So people who are in chronic pain, then these Deep Blue tablets, supplements work really, really well in combination with the Deep Blue.
So the Ylang Ylang oil is not enough of a carrier to be able to just go ahead and apply that directly to the skin, or do you have to go ahead and supplement with the fractionated coconut oil?
Yeah, you're going to want to, Ylang Ylang is an essential oil, so that's not a carrier oil. So you're going to, okay. You'll use your coconut oil with this one too.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Unless you're using the roller or the lotion, then you don't need to, obviously.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Any other questions, you guys? And then we'll sign off.
No, thanks for doing the presentation, Jeff. It was great.
Oh, you're welcome. Did you guys enjoy? Did you guys get some value out of this?
Yeah.
Oh, yes, we did.
Yes.
I did.
Good.
Yeah,
So you guys, if you're going to order, you can go to that link, or you can reach out to Dr. Ryan and he can help you get set up also. But if you guys have any questions for us, connect with us through our Facebook, connect with us through email. Yeah, we're here to.
Is your Facebook my oil lab?
Yeah, My Oil Lab.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you send us a direct message, we answer everything. And my email is jeff@myoillab, so it's easy.
Awesome. Thanks, Jeff. And we'll keep if you watch our Facebook, or Instagram or emails, we'll keep connected with Jeff and his wife at My Oil Lab as part of the team that we'll be connected to for our essential oils. So
You guys have a wonderful
Thank
night.
you.
Yeah, you're
All right.
welcome.